If you've been following through, you know that I've been releasing a series of videos walking you through the process buying or selling a property in this market, talking about inspections, appraisals, and the entire process throughout. If you haven't checked it out, go to my YouTube channel, go down below and you'll find that series. It's 10 minutes each video, but it will be very insightful about their entire process, regardless if you are a buyer or a seller. So continuing with that series, I want to talk about the listing appointment. What is the process that we go through as real estate agents, and I myself personally go through and discuss with any potential seller before listing their property and put it on the market? So I already have a video about the buyer consultation. If I'm representing you as your real estate agent in the event that you're purchasing a property, and what is the entire process that I go through, and what are the questions specifically that I ask you to be able to realize and find out all the details that you're looking for in a property. Today, I'm going to talk about the listing appointment, the same process, but working with the seller side. What are those questions that I'm going to ask you? What are the questions that more than likely you're going to have in the event that you find yourself as a seller? And what is the information that I'm going to provide that is going to be valuable to come up with a final price on what we think it's ideal to put it on the market for? Let's say that we set up a listing appointment, you and I show up to your house. What are those things that I bring? The first things are the comparables. The comparables are basically the most recent sales that happen in your subdivision, in your area specifically, that are very similar in conditions, inside, in location, that your property, which we call the subject property. Basically, the average of those prices, properties that have sold, it's what's going to give us the value of yours. The 3 to 6 properties that have sold the most recently in your subdivision, similar to yours, in price, in condition, in size, those are going to be the comparables to your house that will give us the value of your property at any given time. So me, as your real estate or potential real estate agent, the listing appointment is for that. So we get to know each other, you get to know me, and you make the decision if I'm going to be the person helping you sell your property. So I'm going to bring that data with me. Another thing that I usually bring, and this is me, I noticed that not all agents like to do that for many different reasons, but I also bring what I call a seller estimated net sheet. It's basically a calculation, and I usually bring 3 different scenarios on how much you're going to walk away after everything checks out. After paying closing costs, after paying commissions, any potential repairs. We're going to play any scenario so you have an idea, because ultimately it doesn't matter how much we list the property for. It doesn't matter how much you pay in commission. Obviously those numbers are important, but I'm sure that you and I can agree that the most important number of all, it's how much you're going to net in your pocket and take with you at the end. So more than likely, before putting your property on the market, you wouldn't want to know that number, I'm sure. So it's something that I like to bring that can bring more clarity and sometimes peace of mind in the event that you find yourself selling the property. More information that I bring is information about myself and my company, my track record, my staff. So you get to know more about the potential agent that will help you sell the property. And that's where we cover the entire process, how everything is going to look like. I'm going to tell you that once a week, me or my staff will give you updates on everything going on regarding your property, how many showings, what we're going to coordinate, how those showings are going to be, if you're going to be at the property, if we're going to send an agent with each time, if we're going to host open houses, and all these details. So another piece of document or data that I bring with me, it's called the listing agreement. It's basically the piece of paper that we both sign where we agree to commit to each other and where you authorize me as the seller to sell your property and put it in the market and ultimately sell it for you. It's a very short document. It's like 4 pages where we put the amount of time that we agree that you will give me to give it a try to sell your property. Usually it's around 6 months. That's the standard. It all depends on different scenarios, but that's the amount of time that I work with. It doesn't mean that it's going to take me 6 months to sell your property, because anything could happen in between. We might find a buyer, and after 15, 20 days, the buyer realizes that it's not approved. The lender didn't approve the loan. Then we have to go back and try to procure a second buyer. So all these things can happen. And obviously we need proper time to market the property and bathrooms. And usually those things give more value at the time of the sale. Sometimes I'm going to ask you to maybe let me walk the property by myself so I can get a feeling of it as if I were to be the potential buyer, and give you then some notes and recommendations about it. I like to, so depending on how open you are as seller, I like to give you some recommendations of potential repairs that you can do to it, or fixes or TLC that you can do to it prior to put it on the market. Because the more you're able to do, maybe paint some walls, they'll do some landscaping, put some plants around. Those things are attractive and make the property look better, so we can increase the potential traffic and ultimately get you more offers to lead to a higher number. That's going to be part of the process. Then you and I, maybe you, your wife, your significant other, myself, we're going to sit down somewhere in the property, usually in the kitchen table, and discuss everything that I mentioned. Comparables, which are the most recent sales in the neighborhood that will determine the price of yours. I also am going to show you what is your current competition at any given time. Depending on the market that we are, that's a very important piece of data, because it's not only about how much your property is worth, it's also what is going to be your competition at the time of the sale. Because if there's 10 properties similar to yours for sale currently in your neighborhood, that's going to affect the price or potential timing for the sale. So we want to know that information. Why? Because the same way that you probably saw few properties in the neighborhood before deciding purchasing yours, the one that you're selling, you also saw some of those around. So you got to think as if you were to buy the property again. You have to check what's around, what is selling, because more than likely, if you were to put the property on the market tomorrow, that's going to be your competition, and buyers are going to compare your house with those and make a decision based on that. So if those properties are selling for less than yours, that's not a good indicator. If those properties in a way better condition than yours, that's not a good indicator. The way then to go around that is trying to sell for less than what those are selling. It will be the easiest way to secure the fastest sell with the least amount of hustle. Obviously, every case is differently, and that's exactly why we'll bring that data, we sit down, we review it together, and ultimately you're the boss and you make the decision on what price you want to be at. So we sit down, we review the comparables. I also tell you a little bit, I like to talk a little bit about the current landscape as far as how the market is going. And I'm sure that you have that question as well. You're going to ask me, how is the market? How are things going? Are they selling fast? Are they taking some time to sell? Each market at any given time is different. I'm going to be able to give you a landscape in general and what I'm experiencing on an individual base, because at any given time I have an inventory myself where I get to have a pulse on the market, what areas are selling faster than others, what properties are taking longer for me to sell, what price points are selling better, what conditions, what are people looking for, what is happening in the market in general, what are people migrating from or to. So we're going to talk about that. A main point of conversation that we will talk about in that meeting too is, what is your motivation to sell? The most important conversation. Are you downsizing? Are you upgrading? Are you moving out of town? Are you renting next? Are you purchasing next? What is your timeline? Are you going through any financial hassle, struggle that you would want to disclose to me? Because that will help me determine how fast you want to sell, so that way we can plan and strategize based on that. What is your motivation? What's behind the reason on why you want to sell? The most important question. Is it renting an auction for you? Sometimes it is, sometimes it's not. Maybe you need the funds of this property to be able to invest in something to buy your next property. I don't know why it is, but we want to be transparent in that conversation, because the more information you give me, the more clear you are with your intention, the easier it is for me to help you find the best course of action in that moment. So that's going to be discussed right there too, or at least being expanded. Because more than likely, in the phone conversation prior to setting that listing appointment, I'm going to ask you that question and I'm going to have an idea on what is your motive to sell. But at that point, I want to be able to discuss it more and have an open conversation. So we're going to talk about comparables. We're going to talk about the market in general. We're going to go deeper on the motivation, on your motivation and your family's motivation. And also we're going to talk about the agreement. What is that agreement and piece of paper? What is your commitment to me and what is my commitment to you? Then another point of conversation in that kitchen table will be my marketing. You will probably want to know what I'm going to do or what is it going to take for me to sell your property. So I'm going to basically lay out my whole marketing plan so you know what to expect. If we're going to be able to do open houses to your property, it's up to you. If you live in the property, that might be a headache. We're going to be discuss about the strategy as far as professional photography, professional video. If you would like me to put a yard sign, obviously the more we get to do, the more exposure we get to have, the more likely we're going to be able to sell it fast. Each case is different. So also I'm going to show you what is going to be more marketing online, my social media track, my email campaigns, my door knocking strategy, like I said, open houses, everything. And if you have questions, that's the moment to answer. We're going to plan as well when exactly we're going to be on the market. How soon are you going to have the property ready for me? For me to bring the professional photographer and we can take those pictures and go live. Know as well, and I'll explain that in that kitchen table, the process when it comes to showing the property. How I want you to have the property ready. What are going to be the schedule for those showings? How much time in advance you need me to give you before sending people to see the property? What's going to be the dynamic? You're going to give me a key. Is the property going to be vacant? All these details we're going to discuss and plan so we can make a decision and be prepared on what's going to be the best course of action when selling your property. I hope this video helped you and give you an idea on what is the process that we go through as real estate agents, and in my particular case, before putting your property on the market. If you're in the process of selling or thinking of selling your property, I hope that I could be an option for you. Send me a message, direct message, whatever, from wherever you're looking at this video, and let me help you with that. Have a great rest of your day.